Alright, what's up everybody? It's YFV, aka Jobbers and Goons, and a long time ago, back 37 name changes ago, I dropped a classic that didn't get any views, but that's okay. But it was Real World vs. Akatsuki, and it featured my homeboy, NoLuck. Go ahead and say what's up.
Bro, I've had 7 Flintstones gummies. I'm ready.
Let's do this. Now listen, we got our calcium right? And
Yes.
what y'all are going to do is get my boy NoLuck to 1K subs. I think he only needs like a little over 100 more to hit 1K. Hit him with that, and we will get him above 1K for Christmas. That would be amazing. If y'all do that, we will drop Madara vs. Gojo. If
God.
you gotta do that. Yeah, we will literally do that. And get the fucking likes up to like 750. That'd be super dope. But anyways, this is gonna be amazing. We're breaking this down into 3 different rounds, and we're gonna be quick about it. First round will be Gojo running basically a gauntlet of the Akatsuki from Naruto. And then second round will be Gojo versus the entire Akatsuki all at once. Third round will be Gojo versus the Akatsuki in their teams of 2. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy. Like I said, like and subscribe, and make sure to go over to NoLuck's channel and subscribe as well. Without further ado, exactly. Let's begin. So okay, NoLuck, you got like a minute or 2 to go over the basics of Gojo and what he brings to the table that will help him against the Akatsuki. Go.
Don't even need it. So, his hacks are pretty broken. Red and blue, they're like almighty push, almighty pull, but a lot stronger. Instead of gravity, it basically brings in new space into existence, or it removes space from existence. That's what red and blue do to push and pull people. There's hollow purple, which is just existence erasure, which he can just turn into a big ball and shoot it. The ball is about the size of a building, so that's a problem. As far as speed, he's God. Like we can get really high with the speed on this. So let's put it this way: he's massively above light speed. Most of Naruto's arguably barely approaching it. He outspeeds them. He can erase them. And as far as defense, he has a barrier. It doesn't work like a normal barrier. It's not force based. To get through this barrier, you need to have infinite speed, because it works on a principle that's similar to that of the Achilles and the tortoise story. And what happens there is that you basically have to pass the halfway points between yourself and your target to reach that target. Gojo's barrier just exaggerates this law of physics, or this theoretical physics law, and there's always a halfway point between you and Gojo. Therefore, you're always hitting halfway points, and therefore you never reach him. That's the basics of his abilities. Oh, he could teleport and fly too. Fun fact.
Yeah, okay, obviously he has a dope-ass bag of tricks. We're going to go ahead and gauntlet him in the first round. First up, Hidan. Now, listen, I need the audience to understand I'm the biggest Hidan fan ever. Like, no one reps him as hard as I am. I've died on a lot of hills with Hidan, okay? With that being said, he gets thoroughly clapped by Gojo in an incalculable amount of time. Do you agree?
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
It's like Gojo's literally probably the most hard counter you could think of to a character like Hidan. It's terrible. His defenses, it's just Hidan literally has no options. There's no win con.
Right. So it's pretty bad because, like, with Hidan, Hidan doesn't have anything to even hurt Gojo, but Gojo has plenty to hurt Hidan, take him out in ways even better, but similar to what Shikamaru did.
Yeah, I think this fight ends almost immediately. Moving on, we can go. You want to go with Pain's assistant? Her name's escaping me.
Oh, Pain's assistant. That's Conan.
Yeah,
Flower
Conan,
Girl,
yeah,
Paper
yeah.
Girl. Yes. Um, it's pretty much the same story. Doesn't matter. Like Jiraiya negged Konan with like oil. So I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like,
when you put it in that manner, yeah. I mean, if she creates the sea of paper bombs, they wouldn't hit. I mean, they're not getting through the barrier.
True. Also, Gojo's teleportation, he can fly. He's not like Obito.
And for people at home, just so they know, he actually does have healing too because of curse power.
Yes, reverse curse technique is a pretty crazy regen. So some of the feats he's gotten from that, he's healed himself from being stabbed in the throat and brain at the same time, having limbs torn off. Like he can regen organs, including his brain with it. Like that regen's crazy. And he has I did forget to mention this. He effectively has like endless supplies of energy because he already has a massive amount of it, on top of refining his abilities to where they don't take much, on top of regenning his energy constantly. So he effectively has infinite energy.
God, Gojo is... Hit the like button for Gojo, dog. He's so cool.
Yeah, he's so broken.
Yeah, like, I remember when I started reading Genjutsu, I was like, bro, how fucking cool is he? But he... Hard counter to Conan, obviously. We're going to keep it moving. We're basically using this first round to introduce characters. I'm keeping it a stack. Their best chances come later. But getting back to it, Kakuzu, he has the 5 hearts. Different nature styles. Great AoE attacks. Can like clear out half of a forest easily. Can take down... All the Akatsuki can take down a tailed beast, which are at least continental and multi-continental with scaling. In terms of, you got to kill all 5 hearts to stop him. With that being said, I got Gojo first round KO. NoLuck, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a first round KO. I think it's a 10-8. Here's one big problem for this. So Kakuzu does do better than the first 2 we named, but Gojo can activate a number of his abilities at once. One really big one is going to be his red and blue, and he can activate them at points to start crushing like different people at the same time, even, or different parts of people. He could probably just bring into existence new space around every single one of those hearts and crush them all at the same time. So even though he has a better chance, no, even Gojo's like basic red and blue, makes it pretty bad for Kakuzu.
What sucks for Kakuzu is, like, he has a neat bag of tricks, but it doesn't do shit here. So, thanks for playing, but it doesn't really matter. We got, obviously, Gojo moving on, no diff. Sasori.
Sasori would have one of the best chances here.
He has the reason poison, he has poison puppets, all that. Go ahead, get into it.
Exactly. So the poison, and there's 2 big reasons. One is in fact the poison. The other one is the puppets. So one of Gojo's really big crowd control abilities is his domain expansion. He can put a couple hundred people in it at once. The only problem is that the domain expansion itself is a mental attack. Imagine like Genjutsu, but like it's way worse, right? And it's made to like stall out, somebody's brain, somebody's mental processing. These puppets don't have that. So it kind of makes that a problem. The other thing is the poison, but we'll get into that in a second. As far as the puppets go, they're not going to get taken out instantly by anything like that. However, Gojo can basically have them all pulled together and condensed by his red and blue. It's still too powerful. The ability's not going to be negged. It's not going to be resisted by them, because when you bring new space into existence and remove space from existence, to resist that, you would basically need infinite 3D power. The puppets don't have that, so they would die to it. The poison actually probably doesn't need to get through Gojo's barrier. There's actually a really funny bit of scaling for Gojo, is that he actually apparently doesn't need to breathe. So he actually could see any of that poison coming, identify it with his 6 Eyes ability, as he can see, the different compositions of air, of mass, all sorts of things, and just not let it through his barrier, to be honest. And even further to that, he may not even need to use a barrier for that. He could teleport away. He could outspeed it. Like, there's no chance There's no chance that poison bothers him at all. Yeah, he still just negs here. It's bad.
Yeah, Sasori's interesting with the versatility and the puppets, but again, it's going to come down to raw power and ability. Gojo's got him by a mile. Moving on to Deidara. Molecular destruction is cute. I don't even think that gets off. To be honest, Deidara gets sniped immediately because he's a fucking idiot. But
True.
Deidara could be a little more interesting in later rounds, especially considering who his partner is. But here, before he gets to the big guns, he's done for, in my opinion.
Yes. So it's kind of bad because with Deidara, you have all of his abilities just pretty much being playthings for someone like Gojo. We've seen people throw explosives at him to zero effect. Gojo laughs these things off. They don't get through his barrier. Gojo probably kills him by accident messing around, like before Deidara even thinks of like C0 or anything like that. And even then, because we know that his those molecular bombs that like destroy you from the inside, as Sasuke points out, these things have energy. Again, Gojo sees this with his 6 eyes, knows it's coming at him. They just don't get in his barrier. So Deidara has no hope.
Damn, Deidara. Hate it had to be him, bro, but doesn't do shit here either. Kisame obviously has a unique arsenal with his water. His clones are stupid powerful, able to fight like 6 gate guy. He has Shark Clone Jutsu. He can absorb chakra. All this, if you think that boy, let's say for argument's sake, he could absorb space. Like, it sounds stupid just saying, but let's say he could absorb some of the ability, right? It's still infinite. He's not consuming infinite.
Right. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, he has a dope arsenal, but it's almost non-applicable here, especially with NoLuck introducing the not even having to breathe. Well, he's not gonna drown now, apparently. So fuck.
No, and another part to that is that, like, let's say Kisame or someone put him in like that water sphere. We know he could also just trap air inside of his barrier too if he really needed to, but apparently he doesn't need to breathe at all. Like, and apparently he doesn't need to eat. Like, Gojo's kind of weird. Like, the way his reverse curse technique is that his organs are like they're always regenning, even when he's just walking around. So it's not like his muscles will break down. It's not like his organs will break down, or like he'll lose brain cells from not breathing, or like not eating. He basically has regen just on constantly, so he doesn't need any of these things.
Yeah, this shit's getting absurd.
It is absurd.
Moving on, Itachi, you've made an actually shameless plug. NoLuck has made a video on this topic, and he's gotten very thorough about it, so definitely go check that out. Real quick, explain to them why Gojo's mind ability, the infinite information, is way worse than anything Itachi uses in terms of Genjutsu.
So, this is a weird one because you have to get into like theoretical physics and stuff, but the biggest thing about it is that one, Gojo's not, he doesn't have to like be paralyzed himself or even target one person with his Genjutsu. In fact, I would say that's the biggest thing, is that we've seen Itachi only Tsukuyomi one person at a time, and we know that he has limits to, I guess, how much he can do with it, or how many times he can use it in a day, or even throughout his life without going blind. Gojo has no limits on these things. We've seen him trap hundreds of people with his immeasurable void, and in this case, it would be better than Itachi's because Itachi's can be tanked by somebody for supposedly 72 hours, or any amount of time, as long as mentally you can tolerate just being tortured for a while, which most of the ninja in Naruto above Kakashi's level seem to be able to do, then yeah, you'll survive it. However, Gojo's, on the other hand, it's not really a mental toughness thing. It plays on how your brain functions, and your brain is not built to tolerate infinite processing. And what immeasurable void does is it forces you to process, number one, an infinite series of information on top of infinitely processing each aspect of that information. So it's like infinite stacking on infinite and forcing your brain to try to process that. And there's no one's brain would be able to process this. You would actually die because your brain wouldn't be able to. Imagine like a computer, right? And your brain is, the CPU of that computer. It keeps the rest of you alive with its mental processing just passively. Gojo is basically shutting all that down. So your brain wouldn't even passively allow you to breathe. You would stall. All your bodily functions would stall. So you would go comatose. Everything that your brain does to keep your body moving stops because your brain's overloaded. It's just malfunctioning.
I'm
so
gonna keep
it's
it
way
simple
worse.
for casuals because NoLuck uses big words sometimes. Think of it like this: you're playing a video game, and that shit is skipping and glitching, but every time it does that, it's an infinite time each time.
Yeah, that's actually a really good way to put it.
Frame by frame, each frame that you skip is infinite. So
Yep.
Itachi shit, I think the best I've seen it clocked is picosecond. That's picosecond for the whole experience, baby. This is infinite for every frame, every movement, every thought, every action is infinite in processing.
Yeah, and to build on the Itachi thing, basically this move would be trying to force you to process something infinite in something smaller than a picosecond forever. Like it'd be insane. The difference is just it's not measurable.
Yeah, it's Itachi doesn't have anything for Gojo, honestly. Kind of gets walked through. I mean, he does have his Totsuka blade, which could seal Gojo if it could hit him. Definitely isn't hitting him. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could argue, I guess, his shield could maybe stop something from Gojo, but Gojo will get him somewhere else in terms of just getting around it because it's not a 360 shield. And yeah, he's just too much for Itachi. Next,
Yeah.
next we have I guess we'll talk about. Do you want to talk about Pain or Obito?
Let's save Obito for last because probably he's the one with the best shot.
Okay, go ahead on Pain. Okay, so couple minutes. Go over what Pain brings to the table.
Pain brings a lot, but Gojo brings pretty much everything Pain can do, minus like the little clone lackeys, but he does it better. Like I said at the beginning, blue and red, they're basically almighty push and pull, but way stronger, way better, and they don't take nearly as much energy. Like we see that Pain gets tired after using Shinra Tensei, like to wipe the village, basically to push the village a little bit, to nudge it around. Gojo could do the exact same thing or bigger, and he could probably just spam it all day if he really wanted to. Like, apparently he just does not run out of energy for the reasons we already kind of outlined. So it would be so bad for someone like Pain to run into somebody who has essentially his strongest abilities and can spam them, right? So another thing is that he could actually make it. Gojo could in fact counter Pain's strongest, or one of his funniest abilities, in my opinion, and that being Almighty Pull, where he can pull his opponent. If he were to pull Gojo towards him, Gojo's passive barrier would in fact negate this, because, like, basically the barrier would still be in between himself and Pain. And the way that this would be funny is that this would cause Gojo to keep moving forward, but it would also cause Pain to start moving back because the barrier simply would not allow Pain and Gojo to get that close. So basically, he'd be
This
using
would be rough.
Almighty Pull. I know he's using Almighty Pull, and he would just start moving back. It would be so funny.
This would be embarrassing for Pain
Yeah,
because he started it.
it'd be
'Cause he's
the
pulling
worst
him
L.
in. Yeah.
It would be the worst L he's ever taken.
Soul snatching's interesting. Has Gojo demonstrated resistance to getting his soul taken?
So cursed energy number one is going to be, it's going to allow him a certain level of soul manipulation, and we know this because it basically your soul is your cursed energy. We see this for a few things. Number one would be like someone like Mahito. When we see him in, I'm gonna try to keep it simple for everybody who hasn't seen JJK, but your cursed energy is basically your soul. So you essentially, if you have good enough control over either your soul or your cursed energy, you have control over the other one, right? So it's even closer connected to your soul than like chakra is, or like ki in Dragon Ball. So Gojo apparently has the best cursed energy manipulation in existence. That being said, as far as soul ripping, I think you still have to touch Gojo if you're paying to rip his soul. And even then, we see that like someone like KCM Naruto can like grab his soul.
Raw power, yeah.
Yeah, he can just grab it, like resist it with raw power. Gojo has way more raw power than Pain. Like,
And he's
so much more.
Yeah, he's not getting touched.
Yeah.
By that path of pain, I don't see that happening. But obviously, we are entertaining the possibility of soul manip if reached. But the problem is reaching.
Yes.
Last is Obito. Obito, obviously, Kamui allows him to go to a different dimension and kind of avoid getting his ass beat. That's interesting. How do you think Kamui interacts with the Infinite? How do you think that'll work?
So believe it or not, this is why Kakashi would probably do better against Gojo than Obito would. So for those that don't know, Obito and Kakashi have two different versions of the same jutsu, being Kamui. Obito has the close range one, where he can suck himself into the Kamui dimension and then appear somewhere else if he wants to. Now, the reason this isn't super great for Gojo, or super great for Obito, is the fact that he can't just like attack Gojo with the long range version like Kakashi does, because we see Kakashi can look at somebody and like with Deidara send his arm to the Kamui dimension by looking at him, which in fact might get through Gojo's barrier, but I'm gonna do a video on that, so peep that later if you guys are interested. But Obito's would be interesting because he might be able to Kamui himself basically closer to Gojo, maybe inside his barrier. Now, as to how helpful this is going to be, it doesn't really bode well, because we know that Obito isn't fast enough to basically appear on Minato and then suck Minato into his close range Kamui. We know this because Minato, even though he's not light speed, is able to teleport away from it with his reaction speed. Someone like Gojo, who has MFTL reaction speed and even better teleporting than Minato, absolutely gets away from this. So we know that it's not a winning battle for Kamui. He might be able to appear and like teleport inside Gojo's barrier. It's not gonna do much. He's not fast enough and he's not strong enough to do anything to Gojo. In fact, what likely happens is he probably appears right there. Gojo might freak out and like rip his head off. And that's not me pulling like some random tactic. That's just what Gojo does when he fights. Like, there's actually like this weird like Reddit just dedicated to like Gojo's tactics and stuff. And for some reason, he tears the heads off his opponents because he's kind of vicious. Or he tries to make them into paste by like slamming them into walls, or like using his limitless abilities to like basically paste them, which is just hilarious. But yeah, it'd be really bad for Obito. He could potentially show up in that barrier, but he really doesn't want that smoke.
Yeah, like it's just, I know it sounds rough, guys, but we have to kind of get their explanations out the way. But
dude,
yeah, I mean,
it's so bad. I don't want to be a Gojo wanker, but like, bro, it's not a good matchup.
Yeah, I mean, overall, Gojo hard counters Obito, but Obito does present a unique Kamui situation there. So round one, he clears. Pretty safe.
Yeah.
Round two, the whole team, I'll give my take and then I'll let NoLuck kind of chime in. I think characters like Deidara obviously fuck the team, because someone like Gojo's going to redirect his shit. Just abuse him in terms of the separation abilities, teleporting and whatnot. most dangerous in round 2 to Gojo is probably Obito. Via trying to get the drop and either taking someone like Sasori with poison or trying to do it himself, but regardless, trying to get the drop on someone like Gojo. But I don't see it working. I don't see the large AoE attacks they have prospering and still aiding the team at the same time. A lot of, for example, Kakuzu almost got hit with like a paper bomb and had to use his diamond form. Like, relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if they get caught off guard or anything like that, it might be a rough day. But I just don't see the AoEs being that effective. I do think Obito is probably the largest threat in round 2. Who do you think the biggest threat in round 2 is? Curious.
I do also think it's Obito. Like, I know I didn't cover it very much, but the fact that he can get inside of Gojo's barrier pretty much puts him a tier or 2 above everyone else as far as their chance to beat this dude.
Yeah, so, how do you think Itachi and Pain would work as in this scenario?
So, this is something I've had to like argue with people about. Itachi and Pain, they would be on paper, they should be the strongest matchup, but they're really not compatible. The reason being is that, one, Itachi's Genjutsu doesn't work on Gojo. I've explained why about 1 billion times. Another shameless plug, if you guys want to know, go check that out. But without the Genjutsu advantage, you can't go with the old strat that Itachi's going to Genjutsu and Pain's going to jump them while they're like immobilized. So after that, you know, the rest of Itachi's arsenal doesn't get through. Not Susanoo, not Totsuka Blade, not Amaterasu, not pretty much nothing. Not even, you know, his regular fireball jutsus or anything. So Itachi's fodder. He's gonna be punching air. You know, he's shadow boxing in this. Pain, pretty much the same deal. He still just takes the same kind of L, except it's more likely that he just watched Itachi get his head ripped off right before taking the L. So honestly, the results are pretty much the same.
Imagine him trying to shoot that fucking nail at Gojo's forehead like he did to Kakashi.
It just stops.
Gojo's like, what are you doing?
What's this? The fuck
Like,
you think you're doing over here?
He was like, is that a missile? Like, what? He would
What am I supposed to do with this?
And I talked about this to NoLuck off cam. There's the real possibility Gojo drops a big dog early, and it flusters some of the other members. Like Deidara, if Deidara sees Itachi get his bitch ass knocked out in an infinitesimal second, I promise you Deidara is either killing himself or running.
Bro, all facts. It would be so bad. He'd use one of those, like, mouth hands to, like, bite his neck, and so he could bleed out. Like, dude,
He'd be like, getting
really
the fuck
bad.
out of here is an art. And he would make some fight shit and run as fast as he can, because he'd be terrified.
Dude, that would be so funny.
Yeah, like, we're kind of joking, but we're kind of not. It'd be rough. Like, Gojo, the way he would hit the team, if they're together, it'd be brutal. I think he clears round 2. I think NoLuck agrees.
Yeah.
They don't complement themselves well enough to beat Gojo in this scenario. I do think a lot of people shit on them as a team. I think they'd be a little scarier as a team than people give them credit for. Like, I feel like Obito, if he revealed himself, or if they thought he was Madara, a lot of them would shut up. Like,
yeah,
that's the dude that, like, multiple Kages are like, yo, can we send our entire population at him? Like, that type shit. Yeah, like, they don't want real smoke with him. So, he's basically a god to them. So, I do think he'd get a lot more respect. But still, it doesn't matter. They get washed. Now,
you know what's funny is he might have been scarier if it was Gojo that showed up to, like, the five Kage summit and declared war. Like, if they got to see him fight for, like, 30 seconds, they'd be like, oh, wait, no, we could just talk about it, bro. We don't need all this war shit.
Yeah,
like, bro, they would cut down.
It's brutal, and like, you don't really come back from fighting Gojo. He does people dirty. So
yeah,
it'd be rough. Now, round 3 with the duos, with the pairs, we'll name the pairs, and then we'll tell you if any of them can do anything. So, Kakuzu, Hidan. Nope. No. Yo, like, I'm not trying to be funny, but they were built to get beat up here.
Yeah.
Stylistically, they're going to be brave, but it's going to get them killed.
They might unironically be the worst matchup for him.
Yeah. Sasori, Deidara.
Still not a... There's just nothing that gets through his barrier. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be really bad for Sasori, or not Sasori. I think it's going to be bad for Deidara, because I think Sasori, despite how like prideful and annoyingly arrogant like Deidara is, I think Sasori is a little more headstrong. I think he dives at Gojo first on some dumb shit, and Gojo just negs, and then like Deidara freaks out.
I have some pretty good evidence for that. He like was swinging on Itachi back in the day before he had clout, and well, he did have clout. Obviously, he had to have clout to get recruited by the Akatsuki, but he wasn't Akatsuki yet, and he still swung. He didn't give a fuck, and he like trained for the Fade after that. Saw Kakashi, was like, "What's up, bitch?" Like, not particularly bothered by characters like that. I definitely think, and especially because he saw Sasori is better than him, I think his confidence would be sky high, and it would get him killed immediately.
It'd be one of those situations. Oh, crap, what was it? There's a scene in Attack on Titan where like a couple of the recruits got really hyped up, and they like you get like the inspirational music, and then they all charge in, and like 3 of them just get insta-negged in like horrible ways. Like that's what I think would happen.
It's tough, but it happens to the best of them. I see them taking the not the worst L out of the group. I think Hidan's group does take the worst L, but it'd be a rough night.
It'd be a really rough night, especially for like Deidara. Deidara's gonna be like, "Yeah, Master Sasori is so much stronger than me. He's got this. I probably won't even have to."
Imagine him self-destructing and just doing it in a bubble because he gets negged and just dies alone in his own negged bubble.
You know, the biggest mental nerf for Deidara here is when he starts throwing bombs at Gojo, and Gojo just stands there and is like, "The fuck? What are these little birds you're throwing at me, dude? Chill out." Like, we're just talking. Like, it'd be worse than what happened with Itachi. So
it would, it'd be brutal. Kisame, Itachi. Kisame is a 0 factor. Even if he gets mad, I don't know what he does. Itachi, they don't complement each other in this particular matchup.
Right.
Yeah, I like Kisame really can't do shit to Gojo. I mean, he's gonna start trying to eat that infinite shit and die if we said it was compatible with chakra. He's gonna get fucking full. But if you think Kisame can eat infinite chakra, if that was a thing, comment down below. You're based, and I want to heart your comment. But besides that, nothing really goes on here. Gojo, like we discussed before, to save time, is a hard counter to Itachi. Go watch NoLuck's video on that, you bastards. But yeah, he gets right through that. Now, Pain has Conan on his team. Why are you laughing?
No, I'm sorry. Conan, you know, I take back my previous statement. Conan probably does the worst. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Conan would probably see, like, she'd probably see, like, Gojo float, which is, like, her only claim to fame in the Akatsuki is that she's, like, basically the only one that can fly aside from Pain. Like, I'm sorry. She would just be like, oh my god, it's another god. Like, I have to worship Gojo now. Like, there's nothing she could do. What would be hilarious is if she, like, tried to drop him in that massive sea of paper bombs, and Gojo just, like, stayed there. He would just, like, keep his barrier on and just be like, damn, this is cool.
He's just, like, sternly walking towards her as everything explodes and nothing's happening to him.
Just, like, slowly floats back up because she doesn't know that he can fly. Yeah, and he just, like, floats out of it.
She's literally, like, a decoy at best. in this
Yeah.
matchup. It doesn't go well for Pain either. It's basically a 1v1. Pain gets his shit rocked. Obito will put him with Zetsu. An army
So
of
this would-
Zetsus. How do you think? Okay, yeah. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, the army of Zetsus, so if this was anyone else, this would actually be a great matchup because Zetsu's like really, really good at like intel gathering even on the spot. And he starts identifying things that like Itachi and Sasuke are doing when he's basically observing them staring at each other, but you know, he can still figure out who's winning their like Genjutsu battle, even though he can't see what's going on. That being said, even if he has his army, number one, we know the Zetsu's brains work somewhat similarly to people, so they're going to be susceptible to Gojo's immeasurable void. He can probably just neg the entire army of them. Secondly, we already know what happens with Obito. Like, Obito might get inside the barrier, but here's a really big problem for Obito. If he's trying to like attack, like jump with the Zetsu's, he very well just gets trapped inside that immeasurable void too. His brain would stall out just like theirs, and he would just die. Like, it would be so dumb. He might actually do worse because he has those Zetsu's there and he thinks he can jump.
He might rush in and get folded for his troubles.
Yep. So it's really bad. Like, the fact that he might be more aggressive with Gojo would probably, it's probably just a faster L. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
I definitely, and for those that are kind of confused by what we mean, like, he would be emboldened by the numbers game and take a more direct approach in combat and get folded immediately. So, we did a whole lot of talking. In conclusion, Akatsuki, you weren't enough. But if you guys run up the likes, we will happily do Madara versus Gojo on my second channel, The Coffee Shop. But real quick, I'm gonna let NoLuck talk because wanted him to get some shine today, get some buckets, and get to 1K by Christmas. Break down what you're bringing to the table with your channel, and then we're gonna head out.
I bring down, let's see, I bring a lot to this table, mostly power scaling. I'm one of the greatest, one of the latest and greatest. You know how it goes. Imagine Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James all had a baby. Did you just say
Kawhi? Shut the fuck up. Hurry up and get to what you're good at.
So, again, I'm great with the scaling. I'm great with the analysis. Basically, imagine a really helpful weeb showing you through the anime world, just about every aspect of it. My favorite verses are obviously the GOATs, JJK, Naruto, Dragon Ball, Chainsaw Man. You know, I go through a lot of them. So, think of me as like a helpful guide. If you want to know anything at all, I'm the plug. That's all.
Yeah, and obviously he hops on here. He'll be on the Coffee Shop channel, and he's also a member of the Coffee Shop gang. So definitely check him out. Get him to 1K by Christmas. That would be amazing. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see Gojo return to the main channel, run the likes up. But he's definitely coming back to my second channel. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. It's been your boy, Jobbers and Goons, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.